Hey there lads and lassies, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a brand new video. Today's video is not part of the current series we have, the Let's Build Dublin Zoo one. Today we are building an enclosure for the Jaguar, which was released last week as part of the South American DLC. They don't require any water according to the Zoopedia, but I was reading up on them and they tend to live in swampy or marshland areas, so I thought it would be cool to give them a little pool. So I wanted this exhibit to look something like you would find in a zoo rather than like their natural habitat, simply because I'm just not too keen on tons and tons of foliage. I do like actually though that the Jaguar coverage meter for plants is actually relatively diverse, so someone like me that doesn't like a lot of coverage, it can be relatively low, whereas someone else might like tons and tons of coverage and make it look like a proper rainforest. It's pretty diverse that way, so I really do like that. Unfortunately, as you can see, my OBS crashed during the beginning of building this waterfall, but luckily I spotted it in time for you guys to see what I'm doing here, which is building like a stone bottom to the stream that's gonna flow into the lake or the pool. This gives it just a more authentic vibe to how like a river would look, so rather than just mud and soil underneath. If any of you guys have seen a house being built, you'll know that the deeper into the earth you dig, the more stones you find. So that's kind of the same idea here when this stream was being dug out, that the stones and rocks that were dug up were reused to give a sort of foundation to the bottom of the stream. And the lake does start off rather square, but I do actually change that shortly because it looks too man-made for my liking. So their official name is Panthera onca, and they are the largest cat in the Americas and the third largest in the world after the lion and the tiger. The jaguar is found in South and Central America, and its main habitat spans from Mexico to northern Argentina. The average lifespan in the wild is 12 to 15 years. Their head and body spans 5 to 6 feet, and their tail can be between 27.5 and 36 inches. And their weight is actually I was surprised, 100 to 250 pounds. I kind of expected them to be a bit more. They have a very diverse appetite. They hunt fish, turtles, and even caimans, which is kind of a crocodile looking thing if I'm not mistaken. And they use their jaws to pierce the skulls, or in the case of the sea turtle, they actually can crack the shell. They also eat deer, capybaras, tapirs, and a whole other list of animals, and they tend to prefer to ambush their prey at night. Jaguars are solitary animals. Males defend a range of up to 80 to 90 kilometers squared, and they only meet females to mate. In the game, they have actually quite a small recommended area when you think about the amount of land they would patrol in the wild. I gave them a reasonable sized enclosure. I think it was roughly 3,000 kilometers squared. And breeding doesn't appear to have any particular time of the year. It seems to occur all throughout the year, and the females can have up to 4 cubs at a time, and they stay with the mom for approximately 2 years. They are competent climbers and they scale trees, and they use these vantage points among the branches to pounce on prey unsuspectingly. And unfortunately, deforestation is a thing, and seeing as grazing lands replace forests, jaguars are more likely to hunt cattle, and in response to this, sometimes cattle owners will kill jaguars. Poaching is another big problem for jaguars. They've been hunted for a long time for their pelts, but now there's a growing illegal international trade in jaguar teeth and jaguar bone products going to China. There are a good few conservation efforts. They're not classed as endangered, but they are under threat. So unfortunately, poaching is continuing for jaguars, like many animals. But there are laws in place, and it's great to see that the countries that they mostly reside in have put in place certain laws against poaching. I'm not saying that's going to stop it, it's not, but it's definitely going to help and deter people, if, as opposed to if there was no laws at all. There is a good few conservation efforts as well. They're trying to make what's called a corridor between different regions that the jaguar lives, so that they're not boxed into one area and completely restricted, because that does cause problems with inbreeding as well. For a wild animal, there should be no need for inbreeding realistically, but the deforestation is just destroying their habitat, so they're obviously going to have to travel for miles and miles before reaching more suitable environments, so they just end up staying in the same area. So I'm just planting some trees here, didn't go too crazy, and I was going to try my hand at building a temple, but I figured every other YouTuber is doing that, and I'm not even going to attempt to try and put my skills against everyone else that's already done it, because I absolutely suck. But I think this South American little shelter is actually really cute. It's a cute theme, it really fits in with the vibe, and I think it just looks really nice. Probably a bit too big for these guys, but I really like it. Almost like something like if their habitat was in close proximity to a village. It's the kind of shack you might see. Just placing some decor on the lake and around the place, making sure everything is as it should be. I think there's some plants that I do end up taking away because it said they were not suitable to this environment, which was disappointing because they were really nice. I really liked them. I love all the tall trees actually that came with this pack. I think it really suits the vibe. Some of these trees are actually climbable as well, which fills their climbing need, so I was delighted about that. The only issue I have with them is how tall they are. I know they're meant to be part of a rainforest, but not everybody that plays this game is going to want to build a huge, dense rainforest enclosure like myself. I personally wanted this to look more like a zoo, as I've already mentioned, so it just doesn't seem reasonable. The filter I had on for the foliage was America and South America, I think, so I thought that I picked the trees that suited the best, but at the same time maybe I could have gone with a few smaller ones to kind of fill up the space. But overall I think it looks quite cozy, and I did use a pre-built climbing frame. I don't know how people feel about that. I personally just liked it. I thought it was really nice and that it would fit really well on the water, and why try and build something from scratch that's already built? It looks like it just looks deadly, I think. And I actually don't know if I got footage of it, but the jaguars jump off the platform into the lake, which is really cool. So you can download this off the Steam Workshop. The link is in the description, and it will also be on my Twitter page. There's some cute little screenshots of our jaguar climbing. I got a male and a female jaguar, just because it's a big enough enclosure that hopefully they won't disturb each other too much. So that is the end of today's video, guys. I had such a blast building this. Really got me to think and look at real life pictures of waterfalls and lakes and such. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And until next time guys, take care.